Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Find Your Model Health, the official podcast for those looking to optimize their long-term health and weight goals and understand how their body works. I am very happy to have you back with me on this beautiful March day. I hope you're all keeping really well. I am, of course, your host. My name is Shemaine Linney. If you're not following me already, I am a fitness and nutrition expert, biohacker, and certified iridologist. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. All episodes are focused on healing the body, but this one I think is going to really enlighten you on one way that we can heal the body, but not many people are doing it. So before I go on, I must stress that the information in these podcast episodes is not to be taken as medical advice and should be taken as informational purposes only. Please do consult your healthcare practitioner before making any lifestyle changes. Okay, so this week's episode, we're looking at colostrum and colostrum for gut health, and specifically the research around ulcerative colitis. So I have done a very basic podcast episode maybe a year or two ago, just going through what colostrum is and some of the benefits of it. So you can go back and check that one out. But otherwise, let's move on and look at some of the deeper research around colostrum and why you might need it. So what is colostrum? Colostrum is the pre-milk, or some call it the first milk fluid produced from a mother's mammary glands during the first few hours after birth. So usually 72 hours after birth for humans, or between 0 and 6 hours for bovine, so cow mothers. And it provides life-supporting immune and growth factors that ensure the health and vitality of that newborn baby or calf. So research has shown that once we pass puberty, our bodies gradually produce less of the essential immune and growth factors that help pretty much keep us alive and fight off disease and keep us strong and heal damaged tissues. Now, there are, of course, ways that we can optimize them ourselves, but generally for most people, we'll see a degradation of all these as people get older, and especially if they're not taking care of themselves. And with the loss of these vital components, we age faster, and in some cases we can die faster. So we become more vulnerable to disease, and our energy levels and our motivation and our enthusiasm for life can lessen. Our skin might lose its elasticity. Maybe we'll gain weight that we don't want, and we'll struggle to put on muscle. So this is very common for many people. And to make things even worse, the environment that we live in is very toxic and full of pollutants and allergens. So pretty much conditions are not stacked in our favor. But one component or one molecule that can help with this, or help us overcome all of this negative stuff, or the negative symptoms of aging, as we'd call them, is colostrum. Now, colostrum, being that first milk, is the only source of living components, the actual immune factors that are required by the body, and the basic growth factors like anti-aging factors and health growing factors that are in perfect combination as nature intended. These are found in this first milk, in this colostrum. Now, studies have revealed the importance of colostrum in our society, but Still not many people have heard of colostrum, and if they have, they haven't heard of it as a dietary supplement or a food source. And believe me, I talk to a lot of people about colostrum, and several of my clients do take colostrum and they have reaped immense benefits from it. But there's still the majority of people don't know about colostrum. During the 50s and 60s, many doctors actually recommended against breastfeeding. So many babies during this period, they never got that natural initial boost to their immune and their digestive system that first milk or colostrum provides. And the studies show that adults that were not breastfed as children did experience some difficulties as they got older, like high blood pressure, cholesterol issues, immune deficiencies, a higher propensity to disease and illness. And there were some cases where adults that we saw were breastfed, they had lower susceptibility to everything just mentioned and to many autoimmune related diseases, and that comes back to the gut support that colostrum provides, and we'll look more at that now as we move on. But the research has shown that colostrum has powerful natural growth and immune factors that bring the body to a state of balance or homeostasis. And balance is one thing I emphasize a lot with my clients. We want balance in the body. And with that understood, when for those of you that are looking to build some really nice, beautiful, lean muscle and even burn fat, colostrum is going to be an epic supplement for that, because it does provide an abundance of these natural growth factors. Colostrum also helps to support a healthy immune system, which we know is very important nowadays. It was always important, but now it seems even more important. And it also helps us resist the harmful effects of pollutants, contaminants, allergens. It pretty much improves your constitution or your resiliency. So, along with all the benefits that colostrum has that I've just kind of tipped upon, you also get more positive side effects when you take colostrum. So, like I mentioned, you can definitely improve your muscle mass if you're consuming colostrum on a regular basis, which then in turn would help you burn fat as well with greater ease. And even taking colostrum in a fasted state can upregulate fat burning and increase ketone production in some studies. Also, when we're fasting, we know that this rejuvenation of our skin and our muscles and organs happens, and then colostrum taken in this fasted state, which would not break a fast, would enhance all of these as well, giving you beautiful hair, skin, nails, all that sort of stuff. So colostrum really offers the broadest possible spectrum of biologically active substances that promotes the development of a beautiful, healthy, resilient, capable body. It assures effective and efficient metabolism when used in the correct context, and I have to add that in there because you can't just take colostrum and expect miracles to happen. You also have to put in the work. And it also supports the activation and maintenance of a very strong, fully functional immune system capable of combating many different potential insults from microorganisms and virus particles and other harmful sources. So colostrum is very, very safe. It would have no interactions with drugs. Colostrum in itself is a food, so it can be consumed in any quantity without side effects. And it's one of the few natural sources or ingredients that contains all molecular requirements for good health, but it also crosses the blood-brain barrier, which can help with that cognitive performance or brain performance. And before we go on, people will ask, well, I can't take colostrum if I have a dairy intolerance or if I'm lactose intolerant. Well, raw colostrum in itself differs from processed colostrum because it is very clean and very pure. So, one, if you were getting raw colostrum, that's going to be a step ahead of a processed supplement colostrum. But regardless, colostrum in itself is dairy free because it is the pre-milk fluid produced by the mammalian glands and mothers prior to birth. So it is not milk. Colostrum contains pretty much no lactose. So those that are lactose intolerant should have no problems with a good high quality colostrum supplement. If you were concerned, you could look at taking some sort of lactose digestive aid or something, but generally there are no problems with someone that has a dairy or lactose intolerance taking colostrum at all. You just want to make sure that you get a really good product. Now, when we go more into the science end of things, bovine colostrum particularly is very, very nutrient dense. So bovine being your cow colostrum. It is particularly rich in immunoglobulin A, which is IgA, and the antimicrobial properties lactoferrin and lactoperoxidase. Before the discovery of penicillin, bovine colostrum was used to treat various infectious diseases and processes in humans. Now, while human colostrum is rich in nutrients, bovine colostrum contains nearly 3 times the calories. So some of you might want to take note of that, the fat, and 5 times the protein. This makes colostrum an epic food source or supplement for people who are trying to build lean muscle and burn fat, but maybe those who are trying to compete, they want to go on stage, maybe a physique competition, maybe even just a strength training or bikini, like supplementing with colostrum, if done in a good protocol, dare I say, if you did it really, really smart, you could limit calories. I'm not advising this. I'm saying you could potentially limit calories to get the physique or the body composition that you desire, but not experience nutrient deficiencies because bovine colostrum is so rich in nutrients. So you wouldn't be starving the body of the nutrients, but you would be in a bit of a calorie deficit while working towards your, like I said, your physical or body composition goals. But that would have to be done really smart. But the potential is definitely there. I mean, this is a great food. It is a great supplement. Bovine colostrum is also being studied as a wound healing agent, an antimicrobial, and even for cancer therapy. Now, that is something to take on board. What if you were in a situation where you got some sort of wound and you didn't have anything around you, or all the stores were closed again because maybe you were in a lockdown, but you did have bovine colostrum? You could make some sort of a paste out of it, which is not hard at all. You would just mix the bovine colostrum powder with a little bit of a water, make a paste, put that on your wound. It's going to help with the healing, and it's going to help with that antibacterial or antimicrobial aspect of it as well. So it's helping with the healing, but it's keeping it very clean. That's something to consider, considering the times we live in and you don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, bovine colostrum in your house could be a very helpful tool if you couldn't get out to food or medical supplies. This one food source could provide both sustenance, help you survive, and heal wounds. But now, this is where it starts to get really interesting, because if you follow me, which I hope you do, I talk about inflammation a lot. Inflammation I would say is prominent in at least 95% of the population. The other 5% maybe being babies. Like nearly everybody has some sort of inflammatory condition or experiences inflammation on some level. And inflammation, the Latin word for inflammation transcribes into to set a fire. So the body is on fire when inflammation is present. And inflammation generally tells us that the cells and the mitochondria and the tissues, they're not functioning properly and they're struggling. And we know when that happens, that leaves us very open to developing an illness or a disease or just making us sick. So inflammation is usually, it's not usually, it is one of the first things I address with every single one of my clients. And it's usually there. I can usually see it when I do a consultation. It's like, yeah, there's inflammation present. Like, it's very, very rare that I come across someone that hasn't got some sort of inflammatory disorder going on. But anyway, so bovine colostrum, based on the studies, appears to be especially useful in inflammatory conditions and gastric infections too. Gastric infections being your leaky gut and your stomach upset and your diarrhea and your nausea and your dysbiosis and all that. In a small clinical study to determine the extent of immune response in humans when supplemented with bovine colostrum, 18 healthy volunteers were randomized to either bovine colostrum or a placebo and then inoculated with an attenuated Salmonella typhi vaccine. So they were pretty much just given Salmonella. After 8 days, serum studies were conducted and analyzed for IgA1, so that immunoglobulin concentrations. When compared with the baseline, participants in the bovine colostrum group showed 150% increase in IgA. So 150% in their immune response and a 246% increase in IgG, so immunoglobulin concentrations. So we have the immune response and then the potency of that immune response. Those are crazy percentages. Then, now here's where we start to look at the gut health. In a study of adults suffering from ulcerative colitis, which is quite common, participants with mild to severe distal colitis were randomized to either placebo or bovine colostrum for a 4-week period. Results were based on self-report of biomarkers or disease symptoms based on the ulcerative colitis kind of scoring tool. The one that's mostly used is known as the Powell-Tuck scoring tool. So the results were based on the individual's self-reporting or self-monitoring of symptoms based on this Powell-Tuck scoring tool, and also histological mucosal changes obtained during a sigmoidoscopy. So at the end of 1 month period, the participants in this research study, the participants randomized to the colostrum product showed a mean reduction in symptoms of nearly 3 points on the Powell-Tuck scoring tool, whereas the placebo participants, they experienced an increase in symptoms of 0.5 points. So even the placebo group got worse. Placebo there could have been water, could have been it could have been anything. Generally it's water or some sort of saline or something. Anyway, histology findings demonstrated a greater than 50% reduction in mucosal damage, so that mucosal lining in the colostral group, and no change in the placebo group. So that study alone tells us that when we use colostrum, particularly bovine colostrum, as a healing supplement to address leaky gut and gut issues, and then our colitis issues. And I would go so far as saying in some cases, maybe diverticulosis, colostrum can be very beneficial, and we will see the decrease in negative biomarkers and an increase in healing to the mucosal lining, so which is your gut cell wall or the tissue wall. That is crazy. And these studies are here. If you need the studies or would like them, please reach out to me and I would be happy to send them to you. So bovine, if that wasn't enough, bovine colostrum has also been studied for its effects on two other common enteric pathogens. So C. diff, which is Colostrum difficile, and I have experience in this, I'm happy to say, in overcoming this. Not myself, with clients. And E. coli, so Escherichia coli as well. So C. diff infections are common. Generally, we'll see them after surgery. Someone will pick it up in a hospital. In some cases, after a birth, where maybe it was C-section. But anyway, C. diff infections have led to morbidity in many people, with death rates reaching about 17%, and hospitalization stays with C. diff increased by nearly 4 days, with significant increases. So when we look at bovine colostrum's efficacy there, we see a reduction in hospital stays and a reduction in mortality there. And then when we look at that E. coli, bovine colostrum has the potential of being used as an adjunctive therapy for people with E. coli. In calves, the method of action of bovine colostrum against such bacteria appears to be multifaceted, says one study. Through its immune-enhancing actions, colostrum inhibits the ability of E. coli to attach to the mucosal lining of the intestines, where a lot of people have a lot of issues with their intestines, thereby rendering the bacteria unable to attach and release its deadly endotoxins. And lastly, if that wasn't enough, colostrum has also been studied as a preventative agent for upper respiratory tract infections. Now, I'm not allowed to say the C word or I'll get blocked, and we don't want that, because really I just want to help and teach. So I'm just going to say that again, and hopefully you can connect the dots. Colostrum has been studied as a preventative agent for upper respiratory tract infections. So having determined that respiratory tract mucosal, those IgA concentrations, they play a large role in susceptibility to these upper respiratory tract infections. And colostrum can help increase this immune response here. So there was a study, just to go really quick, there was a study on 174 healthy men. These participants had been randomized to daily consumption of either bovine colostrum or placebo and recorded daily symptom scores typically associated with urinary, or not urinary, upper respiratory tract infection. At the end of the 8 weeks, the treatment group reported 16% fewer upper respiratory tract infection symptoms than the placebo group. Duration of symptoms did not change. So the severity was reduced. The duration may not have changed, but the severity was reduced, which tells us that bovine colostrum, along with some other lifestyle changes and supplements and nutritional hacks, could be a very effective way to treat upper respiratory tract infections in a safe, natural way. So there are a couple of ways to get bovine. I generally will recommend my clients use the powder if they can get it. It doesn't taste the best, but you can get some good clean powders. Now, I will emphasize that if you want a really good clean product, you are going to pay the extra money for it. Generally, you're looking for a bag of good colostrum powder between $40 to $60. So that's the price range, and it does last a month, maybe 2 months, depending on how often you're using it. In the initial instances of using colostrum, if there is severe gut issues or if there is an ulcerative colitis flare going on, you maybe want to front load it. So front loading mean you take high doses for the first few days, and then you can, as the symptoms decline and you start to feel better, then you can start to go down to those lower doses, and then maybe only a couple of days, and then maybe twice a week, and so on. But a colostrum powder is going to be quite beneficial. But then if you were concerned, one, with the taste, and some people just struggle to get it down, because what I like to do is recommend that my clients hold the colostrum powder in their mouth for up to 5 minutes to allow it to be absorbed through the gums, which when you absorb stuff through the gums are a very bioavailable way to get nutrition into the bloodstream and into the body. So then it becomes like a paste, and then you swallow it, and not everyone likes that, and the taste is somewhat an acquired taste. But there are some people out there like me who, if it's good for us, we'll just do it, and we don't care about the taste. So you could get the powder form, and you would be going anywhere from a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons a day for 10 days for, say, treating infectious diarrhea, or if you had some sort of flare up. It could be an autoimmune flare up, or it could be ulcerative colitis flare up. So you would be doing that for about 10 days. So that's your front loading with higher doses and slowly starting to go down to the lower doses as you feel better. But then if you wanted to, you could get capsules, and again you would front load that, so higher doses up front. The thing, some capsules are bound in a liposomal formula, which is great because that then helps them get into the intestines more effectively, where we basically want them to start doing their magic or heal the intestines there. But again, the price is still going to be between that 40 to 60 range for a month's supply of capsules. But colostrum can be very beneficial. At the very least, if someone has severe gut issues, it would not hurt, in my opinion, to try colostrum for even one cycle, for 1 month, even if you just wanted to reap the nutritional benefits, because regardless, you are going to experience some benefits and reap some magic from taking a colostrum supplement. And if you felt that it didn't make a difference, then you wouldn't continue with it. But for those that have, say, acute flares or acute infectious emergencies of diarrhea, you may want to always have colostrum on hand. So if it works really well, then you know, okay, I don't need to take this daily, but I'll keep it in my house and maybe take it once or twice a week, or eventually get to the stage where you would just take it a couple of times a month for maintenance of good gut health. But it's definitely something to consider, I think, and even trying it, like I said, one time just for yourself, because it's one thing me telling you like this is amazing, but you need to see it for yourself and then go from there. So colostrum, as I said, is very safe. It's a food source. It doesn't interact with any drugs. If you are concerned about being dairy or lactose intolerance, most people don't have issues, but you can add in an enzyme there to help you. It's very safe to take when pregnant or nursing as well. But if you're concerned, you can ask your doctor or healthcare practitioner. It is safe for children that have gut issues and need a little bit of extra help there, but you should consult your healthcare practitioner first, just to go over dosing and timing, and just it's always good to run certain things like this past your healthcare practitioner. I have been asked if colostrum was okay for dogs that have gut issues, and honestly, bovine colostrum is not species specific, so it does work wonderfully with cats and dogs and other mammals. So you would just sprinkle the powder in with their food. Most pets, because they are very natural beings, more natural than us because of how we live nowadays, they love colostrum and they are very much aligned with it. And I suppose maybe it brings them back to their own first milk. So, if you have any more questions, I think I've been somewhat thorough in this so far. But if you have any more questions, please reach out to me through Facebook or Instagram or through my website, that's shemainsmodelhealth.com. I would be happy to answer questions, but I'd also be happy to send you any of the research or citations that I mentioned in this episode. Or if you would like a recommendation on a specific type of colostrum, I would be happy to do that too. There are a couple out there that I like. I know Organica make some good capsules that you can get. I can't remember off the top of my head the powder name that I generally recommend to my clients. Like, you can get some good colostrums, but if you need a bit more advice on branding or recommendation, you can reach out to me. Or some people will even send me pictures when they are standing in the health food store and say, is this okay? So, but otherwise, you're looking for really clean colostrum. Full fat is ideally what we want there, because the fat is more natural than having it processed, and we really want this closer to raw as we can get. If you know a farmer, they might be happy to give you some colostrum if they have some to spare that would be raw and in liquid form. And then you're looking at a price there between $40 to $60. So that kind of helps you kind of know what to expect. So that was quite a lot. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, if you know anyone that may benefit from this information, please share. Sharing is caring. And if we can share this sort of information with people nowadays, we can help more people take responsibility for their health. So then more people can take action and prevent any negative outcomes in the future. Okay, have a great day, everyone. It was lovely to speak to you, and I'll chat to you again real soon. Bye bye.